Hello, welcome to Krachtwerker. Quick overview and demo of Audio Assault. You've probably seen their adverts everywhere and it's starting to get a bit of hype, a lot of people talking about it. Audio Assault, I just got a advert, I think it was on Facebook, popped up ages ago, and I think it was for the Dominator and it was very cheap, so I decided to give it a shot. And I really liked it. I thought that it's, you know, it's these are good good sounding plugins, good sounding amp. Now the Dominator is a bit more of a full featured kind of amp with pedal board and everything. Let me show you. Let's get rid of this guy. So Dominator is a amp setup. It's very basic. You've got your stomps, your amps, and your cabs, and you can load up your own IRs as well. I've tried it. I've not had much success with it, I have to be honest. The stomps, you've got a nice selection, and you can also choose if the stomp box, if the effect goes in front end of the amp or in the effects loop. So I've switched these guys off. Now there's a couple of glitches, and I don't know if they have a new version out, but there's a couple of glitches, like sometimes the little lights don't go on, so you don't know if it's on and off, so you gotta like test it. Don't know if it's something that the guys can look at, but mine absolutely doesn't gel properly. So the amp has got two channels, kind of a crunch and a lead, or a crunch and a high gain. At the moment we are on the crunch channel. So that's channel A. Now I'm not going to mess around with the cab too much. You've got choices between different cabinets: German, British, Japanese, American. So I'm assuming British is Marshall, American is either Fender or Mesa Boogie. Japanese is most likely the Roland one. And the German is most likely, it's probably an Engel or a Dietzel, or I don't know, something like that. And then you can choose the mics. I like to choose ribbons. And then you can move the mic about a bit. I like my ribbons. So I'm going to quickly show you this one first. Now you've got a high pass and a low pass, and the distance, you know, how far the mic is from the speaker. You've got all the kind of usual, but in a very basic form. I'm going to use the distortion. The reason I wanted to use the distortion on the crunch, because I think it's a really nice sound. Let's... Now you see how that light's not going on? So it's off, light's off. It's obviously on, but the light's still on. So in my opinion, that's a really, really usable tone. If we go to channel B, you are a bit more familiar with this kind of high gain setup. You've got your gain, bass, mid, treble, presence. I am going to put the gain down a bit for a reason. The bass just present. I'm gonna scoop the mids out a little bit. And then get rid of that and get a bit of presence going. And then we're gonna pump it a bit with the tube screamer. So why don't we add some reverb? I might need some more mix. Now I'll be honest, I've played around with the reverb a bit, didn't get anything I liked out of it. It feels and sounds a bit like a cheap kind of reverb and delay pedals that you buy from Amazon. Have that same kind of, yeah, it does a reverb, but it doesn't do anything for you, you know what I mean? It doesn't get you going. The delay is very much the same. It feels like a shitty analog delay. Now I'm gonna say sorry again because I personally can't get something nice out of it. So if it's me, I'm so sorry. I'm gonna put the delay along. Now I have in the past used an analog reverb and a delay, and you switch everything to 0, and when they're on they feel like they're fattening everything up just a wee bit. These do that to a degree, but you know what I mean. It's not the best, but that doesn't mean like after this you just add good reverb and delays. You should do it anyway, because I think that the amp sound is absolutely solid. So yeah, I find it a really, really usable tone, especially for jamming along, getting some ideas down. Absolutely. Now let's check out the Sigma. I've got to say that in both of these you can add your own IRs. The Sigma, I have to be honest, I'm gonna just start from the beginning here because I've not managed to get a nice sound out of it. So what if I got running? Got one of my own Mesa Boogie IRs running. So let's start with lots of fizz in the treble. So we don't want too much. sounds compressed. I'm not talking about distortion compressor. Yeah, I'm struggling. I'm struggling to get a nice one sound that I like out of it. I think it's usable, but it's not as good as the Dominator in my personal opinion. It does not compete with most of the others. So the other thing I wanted to show you quickly is they have some really nice stuff. I'll just put it on here for now. They've got the Oral Verb. These are kind of like studio setups. So a Verb suite, pre-delay, decay, tone, mix, output and input, and you know, different Verb options, drum, hall, studio, arena. They have one I really like, which is the Freak EQ, a full kind of channel strippy type EQ with all the bells and whistles, the filters, pre and post, and the EQ section with notch options. And they do have multi-transient, which is really good for putting on a drum buzz. Used it many a times. It keeps your transients nice and heavy, and it doesn't really change the sound too much, but you got to play around with it a bit. The presets are fairly decent if you just go for a preset, but otherwise very nice. They also have the RM2, which is like I think supposed to be like a preamp warmer, so you can drive the preamp, you can drive the input, and then obviously you can back down the output if you need to, and you've got bass, mid and treble selection. And it really does warm up the sound a bit like an analog setup would. What else do they have which I really liked? The bass grinder, which is their bass amp. Didn't like it at all. Personally, I couldn't get a decent bass sound out of it. And they have this T-Comp, which is a compressor. I find it quite overpowering, but very good. So I don't use it very often because it's really overpowering and unique kind of sound. So I think it's a bit like the Distressor, or maybe they modeled it on the Distressor. I'm not sure. All I know is that for most of the things that I've tried to do, it has not really worked out the best, although I have managed to use it. And it's not that it sounds bad, but it feels over heavy. So I would like you guys to just check it out yourself and make your own decisions on that one. Anyway, that is really everything I have to say about Audio Assault. I really think that you should go to their website and subscribe, and maybe get some of their free stuff. It puts you on the newsletter list because they've got lots of offers, often coming through by email. You know, X amount off, and some of these items fairly cheap, gives you something to play around with. Definitely worthwhile in my opinion. So there you go, a quick overview, I wouldn't say demo, overview of Audio Assault, and I hope that helps you guys. Cheers, thank you very much.